Here was Serenity Turner, senior at Knoxville High School. Right now, 26-3, just came off of first place at Eddyville at the Megan Black tournament. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I just worked a 12-hour shift, so a little tired, but pretty good after that.
So where do you work then?
So I actually work at a nursing home. I'm a dietary aide, so basically like a waitress. And then I
Yep.
also work at Hy-Vee in the bakery. So I
Oh,
work eight
wow.
hours at the nursing home and then 4 hours at Hy-Vee.
Wow, hardworking young person. That is awesome. So
hmm
let's just get started with how did you get started wrestling?
So I started in seventh grade, and there was just like in middle school, they would send out these school-wide emails being like, if you want to join the sport, send an email to this coach. So I saw the email and it was like, if you want to wrestle, email the coach. And I was like, I wonder if I can do this. And then I was sitting there and I was talking to my friend. I was like, how much do you want to bet I'll join wrestling? She had no cares in the world that I joined wrestling at all. But she, but then I ended up messaging the coach asking if I could still join wrestling if I was a girl. And then wrestled seventh grade, and there was no other girls on the team. You know, it's kind of it was pretty taboo to be a girl in wrestling at that point. So,
Yep. Yeah, what was so wrestling the guys, it's that's been what we're 6 years ago. And
mhm.
so what was the attitude around you wrestling with the boys in the room?
In the room, none of the boys wanted to wrestle me. You know, I was itsy bitsy. I was like 95 pounds. So it was hard to find someone little enough that would actually be willing to wrestle me. And all of these middle school boys just had the biggest egos ever. They never wanted to even like come close to me. Like so many rumors started about me. They tried to say that I didn't smell good and all this stuff. So seventh grade and eighth grade wrestling boys was kind of a rough 2 years, but I got through it. And, you know, freshman year, I definitely learned that girls are a lot better to wrestle with.
Yeah. So what do you think got you through it? What makes you love this sport?
So seventh grade was kind of, I didn't wrestle very much because it was 2020, so we had COVID.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to keep wrestling because I didn't get to see enough of it. You know, I didn't really get to experience it. And I really liked being able, this sounds cocky, but I liked being able to brag to my friends, being like, I do the hardest sport, you know, even though
Hmm.
I really wasn't that good at it. Um, but then in eighth grade, I had a change in coaches, and it was him and his dad, and they really pushed me through it. And they were a lot more sporting coaches than my seventh grade year. So, and they so badly wanted to see me succeed because I was their first girl that they'd ever coached.
Awesome. That is really cool. And then
hmm
so we sanctioned wrestling 4 years
Yep.
ago, and Knoxville and Pella were together. So you had Coach Adam Hale, one of my really good friends. What was it like going to Pella? I'm not real good on the maps and whether that's north or south, but how was it going to Pella for your first year or first couple of years?
I really enjoyed it. You know, freshman year, I didn't have much confidence. I was 100 pounds, and my first meet the night before, I ended up hurting and being sent to the ER. I was at an open mat, got hurt, got sent to the ER, wasn't able to wrestle for like 3 meets, didn't have very good confidence for like the first year. Sophomore year, they really built up my confidence. You know, Bushka and Hale were always telling me, you're better than you think you are. Like I remember them saying that over and over and over again. But I really enjoyed getting to be in that community and, you know, looking at colleges. I now know what Central community is like because I've been with Pella, and
Yep.
I just have a family at Pella, and it's really nice to have connections everywhere you go.
Yeah, that's really cool about the girls' side of the sport. I think more so than the boys in almost any other sport I've been around is the connections that we make within this sport, and that everybody is super supportive. And
hmm
it's, you can coaches from other teams are more than happy to help. And I know so many kids throughout the state, and it's so much fun just to go places and see people. I think that's a really important part of the sport. Last year. Knoxville, you
Mhm.
guys got enough people together, and you had a coach, and you guys had your own team. What was it like having Knoxville have their own team and being able to wrestle for your own high school?
It was great. I really loved the recognitions I was getting. When we were with Pella, it was kind of hard to see that recognition because, you know, Pella was trying to claim us and then Knoxville was trying to claim us, but nobody knew really who who to claim us, you
Yep,
know what I mean?
yep.
And so once we got to Knoxville, they started talking about me more. They started posting about me more. They celebrated my achievements a lot more. And that just felt very validating as a wrestler because I did not feel very validated when I was wrestling for Pella by Knoxville, just because they didn't post about me as much as the other Knoxville teams, which is fine. That's how,
Yep.
we were wrestling for Pella. But being able to represent my school and being able to talk with my classmates about it because they were also watching us wrestle was
Uh-huh.
really fun. And, teachers were coming to support us. And it was really nice just being in my own community and being able to grow women's wrestling in my own community as well.
That's awesome. How many girls do you have out this year?
I think it's around 15. I don't know for sure.
That's really good numbers. That's awesome numbers.
Hmm.
I was glancing ahead, regionals. Um, where are you at for regionals? I'm trying to think. I know I looked it up and I'm getting old and I forget things. Um,
Atumwa is where we're going.
Atumwa. That's right. That's right. Um, Big team at Atumwa is Racking River, but you know
Hmm.
what? We got to make through challenges. Are you excited about this year's regional?
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that we got moved to 2A though. I was really looking forward to being 1A again,
Uh-huh.
but stuff happens and you got to wrestle through it.
Yeah, I think we're going to see changes every year for the next
Hmm.
probably, until we kind of settle out and figure out where the sport's going to, stop growing. Are we going to go to three classes? Are we
Hmm.
going to 24 qualifiers? That's what I really want, is to go to 24 qualifiers. That's for me, for the kids I coach. I had a lot that got third last year, and it was really hard as a coach, and it's hard as an
Hmm.
athlete to get one step away. But
Yeah.
um you had said when we talked about doing this, you had said that you struggled a little bit through maybe your seventh, eighth grade years, and wrestling really has helped you out. Would you like to share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my middle school, in middle school, I talked about how I'd got bullied a lot for wrestling. I'd also
Yep.
gotten bullied about a lot of other things, which normal for a middle schooler, to be completely honest. But I was also going through a lot of stuff at home. I had some family issues. My dad actually, when I was in fourth grade, he had a brain tumor. He had to get brain surgery, so he had short-term memory loss permanently.
Hmm.
Um, so just trying to cope with all of that throughout middle school while going through so many changes, trying new things, all of this kind of stuff. It was a lot. I mean, there was a lot of times where I was really struggling and my mom wasn't capable of helping me through those struggles because she was also trying to help my dad and my little brother through and like trying to support our family. And my dad wasn't really there to support me because he was struggling with his own stuff. So I at times I kind of felt alone. And once I started wrestling, especially my eighth grade year, I just felt like I had supporters, like I had people there for me. And once you step onto the mat, you really there's no other emotions besides what you feel on the mat. Like you're
Hmm.
not thinking about, oh, what I got going on at home or what's going on at school or anything like that. You're thinking about, oh, how am I going to win this match? What shot am I going to take? These kind of things. Or in practice, what did I learn at practice today? It just kind of gave me an outlet of things to distract myself from all of that kind of stuff. And eventually I learned to love wrestling. Like it's my biggest passion now. It saved me through all of that. It gave me something to look forward to every day. And freshman year it gave me something to push myself with. And I don't think that if I never wrestled that I wouldn't be the person I am today in other aspects of my life. I work really hard and like in my jobs and everything like that, work 12 hours today.
Yeah.
But and like in school, all A's, I was not an all A student in middle school. Wrestling just pushed me to be a better person in all aspects of my life.
That's awesome. That is really
Hmm.
cool. It's a lot of us go through issues, and I, obviously this isn't about anything with me, but as we get to be older and adults, we go through hard things, and wrestling
Hmm.
helps you get through those hard things. Not that wrestling's harder than your dad's issues or having to be alone, but it does help you get through those hard things. So I'm really glad you
Hmm.
found the sport. That's really awesome, and you're really doing well. I mean, just it's fun talking to you right here, and I can see the confidence in yourself that has come from probably that middle school person. I'm going to tell you, I was a pretty shy, picked on
Hmm.
middle school person, and yep, everybody gets picked on in middle school, but it's how we handle it, and it's different now because when you get picked on now. It's 24/7 because it's online. When I got it, we
Hmm.
had no idea there was no such thing as an internet. We just were getting computers. So yeah, it's got to be hard. So I'm really happy that you found the sport. I'm happy that it's an outlet for you. It's definitely an
Yeah.
outlet for me too. So that's awesome.
Hmm.
What advice would you give to, let's say, a seventh grade girl this year that's maybe struggling with some stuff at school, being bullied, maybe having some problems at home? What advice would you give them?
Um, I would I would help them. I would give, hold on, let me think about how to word
No,
this.
no, you're fine.
Um, I think that the best advice that I could give them is to just find something that you love and put all your energy towards it. And if you put all of your energy towards one thing that you love, you're gonna begin to enjoy all of the other things in your life.
I like that. I like that a lot. Um, I know you have kind of some aspirations of wrestling in college, and you said you've
Hmm.
told me prior to this that you're looking. What
Hmm.
have you been doing for your recruiting, the kind of that recruiting trail where you don't have to tell me where you're thinking about going or anything, but what are some of the things that you've done to find that place that you want to go to college at?
It's more so colleges reaching out to me. I've done a couple things where I've signed up for like I think it's some
Like
sort of like,
athletic questionnaires and stuff? Yep.
yeah, stuff like that. I've done those kind of things and I've gotten my phone number out there so coaches can reach out to me at any point of time. Um, I have my Instagram out there that's pretty much all at wrestling and I just think that I have a very I everything about me is just wrestling. So if you
Hmm.
look up my name, it's just going to be all wrestling, there's nothing else. I think that that's really important for coaches to see because, there's nothing overviewing the wrestling part of my life. Um, Other than that, I've just tried to be as kind as possible when I'm talking to coaches and be as considerate as possible when I'm also talking to coaches. There was this one college visit that I was supposed to do. I'm not going to name names or anything,
Yep.
but we were supposed to meet the coaches and it ended up being a dead period and they didn't realize it until the day of and we ended up traveling a long way to go there and we weren't able to talk to them, but it was it was completely fine. We got to see the campus and everything. We ended up getting to do a Zoom call and I got to meet them and they were super sweet. And I think just being as considerate as possible with how new this sport is very important because, these college coaches, half of them, this is their first, second, third year of coaching women's wrestling. It's like
Hmm.
they're new to this too, just as we're new to the recruiting process.
Yeah, that's good advice. I would say that where I went and wrestled in college, it's closed now, Dana College. My cousin wrestled for them, and I went there probably seventh grade ish, and
Hmm.
I said I will never wrestle at this school. It just seemed so small, and it didn't seem like I wanted to be there. But then that's where I ended up wrestling. So you're right, open mind, keeping that open mind, keeping being kind to everybody, even if it's not your place. You never know,
Hmm.
you might end up there in a couple of years and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's good. Um, Anything we can do to any places that you'd like to reach out to yet that you haven't, or anything we could maybe throw out there to see if someone bites on it.
Um, I would love to wrestle for Iowa, but at the same time, I really want to have mat time, and I know
Uh-huh.
that Those are all the big dogs, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have to get really good over the summer to be able to compete on their varsity squad. So,
Yeah. Here's a question for you about college wrestling. There's maybe a couple different levels. I'm not even talking about NAIA Division III. I'm not talking about that. But you can go and you can wrestle for a brand new team and be
mhm.
part of building that team. Or you could go to a place that's a little more established and have maybe better practice partners, a larger team. Um, Maybe less likely to get the varsity spot, but in college you wrestle a lot of opens anyway, so there's all kinds of mat time. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a newer team? Or are you wanting to get on a more established team?
I think that I would want to be on a newer team just because I love starting new programs. You know, I started the Knoxville program, started the Pella program.
Yep,
Um, just being a part of the new environment is so fun, and being able to start new traditions and all of this stuff is very fun. And but if I was to say that I would want to be on a new team, I would want an experienced coach. I wouldn't want
yep.
a coach that, you know, fresh out of college, doesn't really have very much coaching experience. I would want a coach that I know is a good coach.
That's good. I like that. That's
Mhm.
good. I like the idea of starting something new myself.
Mhm.
I've done that over and over again with girls wrestling myself, so it's fun. Um, let's change up our interview just a little bit. Let's get to know you a little bit better. Ask some maybe some fun questions. As wrestlers, we love food, right?
Mhm.
That's kind of our thing. Do you have a guilty pleasure food? I'm going to tell you mine's ice cream. I could eat ice cream for every meal. It might as well be its own meal. But what is your guilty pleasure food?
Chocolate, all kinds of chocolate. I will randomly just go to the store and buy so much different kinds of chocolate. And Nutella, sometimes I'll just grab the jar of Nutella, grab a spoonful, and just eat it.
I ran into this. I had no idea it existed. Actually, I was at Menards and I saw Dubai chocolate. Have you had that?
I've had a cheap brand of it, but I didn't like it very much, to be
Didn't like it
honest.
very much. I thought it was
Mm-mm.
all right. I guess, but yeah, I'm not a huge chocolate person, so I had maybe one or two pieces of that. After weigh-ins, what's your big after weigh-in meals? What are things you're eating right after you weigh in before wrestling?
So I try to eat a decent amount of carbs, you know, quick carbs and what's the other carb? I don't know. But
A little more complex carb for a little
complex
slower.
carbs, yes,
There you go.
that's what
Yep.
it is. I try to eat a good amount of both so I can get as much energy as possible for my matches. Uh, I love to eat a banana because that has both of them. And then, so bananas and apples are definitely my go-tos. If it's a
Hmm.
Saturday meet, I love to eat a bagel sandwich. Definitely my go-to.
Nice.
And
And
hydration drinks are so good too.
yeah. So I'm down in Knoxville and I run into you, where's the best place to go out and get a good meal in Knoxville?
To get a good meal,
What's your
I don't
favorite
really
restaurant?
eat in Knoxville very often, but the Lucky Buffet is I love all types of like Asian food and that kind of stuff. So the
Uh-huh.
Lucky Buffet is definitely one of my favorites.
Vacations. You're young yet. Maybe you've got to go on a few things with your parents, but do you have like a bucket list vacation spot that you'd really like to go to?
Honestly, anywhere outside of the country. I've never been outside of the United States, so I would love to see new places, new cultures, get to experience, you know, what they do and what they like.
Ah, very good. That's a different answer than I usually get, but I like that answer. Very good answer. Um, if you could hit any big move in a let's say the state finals match and you could hit some really big move, what is your favorite big move to hit?
Um, I honestly, it's not that big of a move, but a really clean fireman's. I
Oh,
feel like that would be the sweetest move to hit in the state finals.
yeah, I'm a carry person myself. I love fireman's
Hmm.
carries. It changed my entire wrestling from being probably average to maybe a little bit better than average, just
Yeah.
because I was able to win a lot of matches maybe I shouldn't have won. Put somebody on their back right away. Um,
Yeah.
the new rules. Last year we switched to 3-point takedown. I'm guessing if you're a fireman's carry person, you like the 3-point takedown, 4-point near falls. Is there anything you'd change about the rules the way they are right now?
Um, I think that there needs to be more, like, I feel like refs need more specific rules on some things. And I can't think of anything right now, but I know exactly what it needs to be. And I feel like there should be more. I feel like I wish that refs could be more consistent, if that makes sense.
That makes 100% sense because you can go to one area of the state and stalling might be called one way, and then you go
Hmm.
somewhere else and it's not called the same. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know sometimes what you can and cannot do. So I
Hmm.
understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, I really I've used this question for my last few interviews and I like it because I think it's very open-ended and it kind of hits a lot of different things. Wrestle like a girl. I'm not talking about the organization. I'm talking
Hmm.
about what do you think it means to wrestle like a girl?
Um, so I think that wrestling like a girl, since wrestling was such a male-dominated sport, you know, when you're wrestling with males, it's hard to find your femininity. And so, wrestling like a girl is being able to put your hair in braids, put on those pink shoes, get some glitter in your hair, just get all pretty and, wear some makeup out on the mat. Like, feel free to feel pretty on the mat. Like, I think that wrestling like a girl is being able to be a girl in the sport of wrestling.
That's a very good answer. I like that. Um, I've kind of already talked about advice to people, but what about uh, maybe that seventh grade girl and we've talked about? What advice would you give her about maybe starting wrestling?
I would say 100% do it. I've talked to so many people about joining wrestling. One of my best friends actually joined wrestling last year. She says it's her favorite sport now, and she's so glad that she did it. And it took me so long to convince her to do it, and I'm so glad she did it. She actually last night was her first ever win of a tournament, and I was so proud of her. It's so awesome to see how far she's gone. But I just think do it no matter what. If you don't like it, you only go out for a season or you only go to two practices, see how you like it. Wrestling is such a diverse sport and there's so much to learn through wrestling. I've been wrestling for 6 years and there's still so much more for me to learn. There's still so many more moves for me to learn. And, kids that have been wrestling their entire lives still have more to learn, even just like about mentality and stuff like that. There's always more to learn. So, wrestling is one of those sports that just never gets old. And if you want a sport that, never gets old, then you should definitely go for wrestling.
Well, I know you said you've learned a lot and there's a lot more to learn, but what has wrestling taught you?
It's definitely taught me to be, I have to think of the words. They're all big words. So I have to think for a second. Um, it's definitely taught me to be determined and to find strengths in what I do, not necessarily in what other people do, but in what I do and what like my body type is and what I'm mentally strong at and physically strong at, stuff like that. Um, and being able to like actually figure out what I enjoy also. Like, wrestling has so many moves that you get to choose what you like to do. And that is so important when you're trying to figure out what you want to do in like real life because then you like in wrestling you have this whole plate of like moves that you can do and in real life you have this whole plate of things that you want to do and you get to choose. So it kind of brings you to the real world. Um it's also taught me a lot about my mental health and about being mentally strong. I think that it's pushed me to be way more mentally strong than I ever could be, and I push that onto other girls and other people, and I really enjoy being able to do that.
Very good. You know, I'm gonna end here with your final thoughts, but before we end with that final thoughts, I want to say it's been really fun and enjoyable having this conversation with you. I don't know you well, but I just in this short period of time, I want to tell you I'm very proud of you.
Thank
It
you.
seems like you've done some amazing things, and I know you're going to do a lot of amazing things afterwards, whether it's in wrestling or whether it's in life. So
Mhm.
it's really nice to have met you. Do you have any final thoughts for everybody today?
For those seventh grade girls, or, maybe you're a senior girl and it's halfway through the season and you just want to try out wrestling, just go try it. It's not gonna hurt you. Um, have fun with it. Everybody can just go have fun with it and always wrestle through it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna hit the stop button now, but it was definitely good to meet you.
Yeah, you too.